Very good evening to all of you. As we all know, we are learning sprint planning in deep dive, and let us understand what happens and where it takes place. What are the checklists that are supposed to be followed for sprint planning? So, if I'm not wrong, we had completed this slide, right? Huh. Right? Everybody with me on this? Yes, no. Jibran, Kajal, Sharupa, yeah, we and Aparna. We had completed this slide, right? Sprint planning. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, sure.
Yes. So that was just confirmation. So we have seen why and where, when rather, when, what is the exact time of sprint planning happening. So we learned that. Let us understand what are the checklist of the sprint planning meeting. Okay. When I say checklist, that means what are the some of the important tasks which must be done by the team members. So now here, as we can see, let me enlarge this image for you. We have checklist for 3 roles. Okay. I will call them as roles. So first of all, we have checklist for Scrum Master, then we have for product owner, and then last but not the least for development team. Is it readable now to all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Prem.
Can I?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I request one person? Yeah. Let us start with Scrum Master. Okay. Can I request one person to read out the checklist for Scrum Master, please? And Scrum Master is also called as the facilitator, yeah, in this aspect as well. Yeah. Go ahead.
Video conference, screen share, and or Polygon access information setup and shared.
Mhm.
You want me to read completely?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Schedule meeting space, prepare and publish agenda, check the calendars for company, holidays, training, events, travel, and employee time off. For tactile artifacts, replenish supplies of markers, post its 3 into 5 cards, pens, pins, etc.
Okay. As the name suggests, he is the facilitator. That means he or she. Give me a second. Yes, that means he or she is the one who should be carrying out the sprint planning meeting. So for that, what are the essential things? First of all, as we all know, in multiple big projects and big organizations, mostly the team is geographically at different locations, right? That means somebody is joining from US, UK, Australia, other parts of Europe, other parts of Africa, India, and South Asia. So in that scenario, we would need physically having at one location, having all the team members. It's not feasible. So what we do, we want them to connect via video conferencing, same way they were like how we are connecting, Zoom, Link, Skype. I think Skype is not there anymore. It has been officially out in the system. So for that, this is the duty, or this is the responsibility of Scrum Master. Scrum Master should be able to, give me a second. Yes. So, Scrum Master is the person responsible for ensuring that all the stakeholders, all the members who are essential for the meeting should be available. Okay. So in case where everybody is physically present, that's great. But in situation where teams are not at the same location, we need to ensure that video conferencing, like how we send you the Zoom invite link, then you all join in. That's kind of the scenario the Scrum Master has to look after. Okay. Schedule meeting space. Now, the first point talks about virtual meeting. Second point actually talks about in-house or in-person meeting. Now you may ask that, okay, what's the big deal about it? Why it is so much of importance? And let me tell you, in many organizations, the conference rooms, the ratio of meetings in conference rooms are always inversely proportionate. That means if there are 10 meetings, hardly 2 or 4 conference rooms will be available. And trust me, it's a fact because already there are multiple discussions going on, some client visits are happening. Many things are happening in an organization, and you need to have an appropriate required conference rooms. When I say appropriate required means if you have like around say 15 team members, then you would need a conference room big enough to accommodate 15 plus team members or stakeholders, and there should be markers, there should be, I would say a camera setup, there should be feasibility of connecting to your machine, there should be all the supplies. So all these things are required for any meeting. Okay. And one of the most important point, that's the third point, is prepare and publish agenda. Okay. Is there anyone here who is not aware about an agenda? Yes. Or let me rephrase the question. What is an agenda in your words? Anyone can answer. Hmm. Yes. So Rupa,
Timetable,
yeah, go ahead, Zubran.
timetable,
Agenda means timetable. Timetable of what?
Motive,
Sorry,
motive.
I didn't get it. Motive, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes, that's one of the closer answer. Yes. What about others? Kajal, Sarupa, would you like to add on this?
Sprint goals,
Sorry?
goals, and backlog items.
Goals for back. No, it's fine. I'm not asking any Scrum related explanation. I'm just asking in simple English. What does the word agenda means, or what does agenda mean for
main
for an interview? Or sorry, for a meeting.
main reason for why conducting meeting.
Very well said. I'm so glad, Kajal. Very nice. So first of all of you are very much close, but I would really give this one to Kajal that yes, the very reason why you are connecting, why you have come to this meeting. Okay. So agenda means why you are here. What is the purpose of the meeting? What are the highlights of the meeting? What we will be discussing in the meeting. So when we are setting up this meeting as a Scrum Master, you should share the agenda in advance. So, see, basically, what happens? Many of the stakeholders, they might be busy or they might be having multiple projects, and so they might not be aware about the actual situation or what is the reason why are we meeting. So, in that scenario, we should we should publish agenda in advance wherein everybody knows why are we here. Okay, so in sprint planning meeting, as the name suggests, we are here to plan the sprint. Okay, but still, what is the duration of the sprint, and what is the sprint number, what are we currently working on, what kind of application is this? So anything that is related to the sprint planning, that should be mentioned. So all the stakeholders, everyone coming for the meeting, will have a decent idea that okay, these are the topics that we will be discussing, this is the point that we should be highlighting, or in case if they have any uh, questions to be raised, any doubts, and they can ask it. Okay, that's why the agenda is important. Next point is really, really important, though it looks very simple or very straightforward. Check calendars, for holidays, events, personal offs, etc. So basically, what happens is, like for example, Diwali holiday is very big in India, okay, but it is not the same otherwise, okay. For other countries, definitely there is no holiday. Then I would say Halloween and other things are quite, or Thanksgiving weekend. So they are very much, popular or longer holidays in US and some part of or many parts of Europe and stuff like that. But might not be in that much in Southern Asia or otherwise, right? So why we are talking about this? As a Scrum Master, as a facilitator, as a meeting, I would say conductor in one way, you should be aware that there will be enough availability of required team members or required candidates, not candidates, required stakeholders for the meeting. So see, there are reasons like there are like state holidays, national holidays, and multiple countries at different times. We might not be aware, so it's the best thing to check their calendar and to see whether they are available for on that particular day for this meeting or not. Are you guys clear? Any doubt in this point or till this?
No.
Yes, easy. Yeah, super. Thank you. Last but not the least, it again might sound very preliminary or primary to you, but as a Scrum Master, he or she should ensure that there are enough supply of I mean enough availability of supplies. When I say supplies, means markers, pens, or that whiteboard duster, or there should be enough light, or there at least everyone gets water, and every as a to conduct that meeting, that room is conducive, that room is comfortable, and also for any discussions, if anybody wants to jot down, so do we have, some booklets or pens available at the meeting? So all these scenarios are very important and quite essential to carry out the meeting. So these are the checklist. I mean, these are the checklist points from Scrum Master point of view for any sprint planning meeting. Anyone has any doubt in this? Let me know. Please read out once and tell me.
Oh.
Hmm. No, so everyone is okay. Everyone has understood. Great. Let us go ahead then. Guys, go to the second point. Product owner, who would like to read the content?
Ensure backlog item candidates are ready according to the team's definition or ready if a definition of ready exists for the team. Make sure the skills and capabilities of team members are known and are generally aligned with the needs of the backing item candidates for the sprint.
Yes, sorry, I was talking on mute and I realized that. So, in this scenario, we are trying to understand what are the checklist of the product owner and also their rules. Now, if you could see uh, below Scrum Master title, it is written facilitator. Okay. So now below product owner, it is mentioned sets the goal and priority. So as a Scrum Master, he or she is responsible for ensuring that in this meeting, the sprint goal is, decided or is confirmed, and that all the priorities related to development are concerned, are, I would say, confirmed, not concerned, are confirmed. So, how they can do it? First of all, ensure everybody here understands backlog item, yes or no? Is there anyone who doesn't know what is a backlog item? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Can you elaborate in one sentence if it is okay? What is a backlog item? Just as a refresher.
Uh, like large numbers of or items that are waiting to be dealt with after.
Backlog
Sorry,
item is
sorry.
a
Can you please repeat? Uh-huh.
backlog item refers to a task or the features or the improvement listed in the product backlog. Maintained
I'm
backlog.
really sorry. I didn't get it. Can you please repeat?
Backlog item means refers to a
Mm-hmm.
task or the features or the implement listed in the product backlog.
Yes, yes, yes.
It was
So to
maintained by
be
product.
to be done work items,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's what you're
Yeah,
trying to say.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
both,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, very well. So both of you are right. So basically, backlog items, as the see in plain English, the name suggests that anything backlog means anything and everything that is pending. Okay. In this context, what we say, all the requirements, all the to-do work items are mentioned in the backlog. They are called as a backlog items, PBI, product backlog. Okay. So in this sprint planning meeting, we have to ensure that our team members or our development team members are aware, or all the stakeholders are on the same page. They have an agreement of which items which need to start working. Now you may ask, what is it? What is definition of ready, or what does that mean? That means in this current sprint, if we are planning to work on any particular checklist, or sorry, if we're planning to work on any particular requirement, any prior requirement to that, are they complete? Okay, let me give you an example. For example, everybody uses here your bank accounts, online bank accounts, yes or no? Like HDFC
Yes.
Bank, Citibank, any banks, yes? Okay.
Yes.
So what is the first step for using bank account? Tell me. What do you do when you open, like, for example, www.hdfcbank.com? Then what do you do?
Login item.
You
What is
log,
the first step?
you log in.
Yes, you log in, right? You give your password and username and password, user ID or password as your credentials, and you log in. And then you can do any activity that you are willing to, right? Transfer, check your balance, check your statement, create FDRD, whatever it is. So in this scenario, my question is, can you do that before, can you do that before logging into the system?
No.
No.
Can you do transfers? Can you check accounts
No.
before logging into the system? No, right?
Mm.
So that means logging into the system is the primary functionality which has to be completed. After that, only you can do any activities in your account, right? So
Yes.
like that, we have to look at all the other all the functionalities or requirements which are dependent on each other. Okay. So that's why they check with the team that, okay, are we ready? So before confirming about any functionality to be developed, are we at a position that any other depending functionality are already developed? Like, then this is a very simple example for your understanding. Okay, but honestly, in organizations for complex and big projects, there are multiple dependencies, right? Some rules might have been developed, database connections must be ready, or some services might be called upon, design might be ready. There can be n number of different aspects to it, okay, and which might not be directly related to you as a BA, or as a tester. It is not directly related to you, but then as a team member, you should be aware of it, that okay, we should do this. Before doing this requirement, we should have been done with this earlier requirement. So before doing any transfer, or rather to do any account transfer, the first and foremost step is we have to log into the system. So it is as simple as uh, uh, you know as it sounds. So if somebody asks you to cook a biryani, plain rice biryani, so what would be the first step for that? What would you need if it is a veg biryani? What ingredients would you need? Anyone?
Nice.
Rice. Thank you so much for saying that. Yes. First and foremost, you at least require rice. So in our this context, before starting the meeting, we should at least know that do we have those in this context, those ingredients or those prerequisites done. So that is what we are saying when we say definition of ready, or are we ready to start the meeting or conduct the meeting. Okay. Next point. Should I ask someone to read the next point, please? Go ahead. Anyone? Yeah.
So development team, update the
No, no, no.
teams to
Product owner second time. Second point.
make sure the skills and capabilities of the team members are known and are
Mm-hmm.
generally
Mm-hmm.
aligned with the needs of the backlog item candidates for the sprint.
Yes. So what it says is we need to understand that whatever work we are undertaking or we are doing, or we need to plan for that, all the team members' skills and capabilities are in line. Like if we are working on any technically complex aspect, then is the team available, or is the team capable? Are they properly trained? Are they are having have they gone through the required training? Are they aware of this new technology? So this is from technical point of view. Even for understanding aspect, are we, if we're working on any complex requirement, do we have the understanding? What are the other aspects? Are there any other possibilities? Is this the customer really want? So basically trying to understand in detail that is our team ready to start work, or to start the work on this particular sprint. Okay, so that's what and when we say generally aligned with the backlog items, means that are we on track? Like earlier, if we have completed, say, priority 1 to 5, then from the next point, we should be starting priority 6 onwards, right? So it's not only about the order or number, it's also about the priority. Like if the team is, able to work on it, do they have any other dependencies? Are they comfortable technically understanding why? So that is the responsibility of product owner to get that clarity during this meeting. Okay. Now, last but not the least, development teams, I would say checklist. Go ahead, anyone. Please.
Update the team's definition of done as needed and make sure it is easy to reference during the meeting.
Hmm. Yes. So what it says is updated team's definition of done as needed and make sure it is easy to reference during the meeting. Now, definition of done in itself is an important topic where we understand when we say that something is done, something is completed or not. So, team's definition of done means when the team would say that some or requirement or some work, any work that they are doing is complete, right? So where this simply means it's the responsibility and confirmation required from the development team about their work, that any particular I would say functionality, any particular part of the application which they are working on is completely developed, is done and dusted. That means it's developed, it's tested, it's okayed, and it's ready to be shipped to the customer. You get the point. It's not only that they have completed it, but even if the customer comes in, they should be able to check it. They should be able to see the functionality. And then that has to be properly done, that properly completed. That means there should not be any requirement that okay, we are yet to finish this, or there should not be any known or unknown bugs that you're checking the functionality and it is not working. There is any error or there is any bug. So this is not accepted. So all these things, all these details comes from whom? They come from the development team. So as a development team, we should know that, okay, whatever checklist we have been discussing that the product owner has mentioned and we have been discussing about, are we in a position to complete that or not? Now you may ask that why why we are doing this with development teams. So simply because development team is the collection or is the team of experts in their own field. Okay, someone is experienced in development, testing, database, security, design, architect, as a system architect, anything and everything, right? So they themselves should be confident, or they themselves should have a fair idea about what they can do and how they can do, and this is the right I would say forum to discuss that. If they say that, okay, we can do it, we can finish this, we are equipped, we are trained, we are aware about the functionality, we know how to go ahead with it, then that sounds like a plan, right? That is like the foolproof way that definitely the team will be able to achieve the sprint goal. But there are scenarios that sometimes when the functionality is complex, the requirements may include some third party tools, some third party integration, some unknown aspect. In that scenario, it's always good to have this discussion done beforehand, right? So we would know that we will be able to complete or not in time, or will there be any kind of hurdles, or just I would say understanding from the development team, because they are ultimately the grassroots level people who will be working on the development part. Make sense? Any doubt in this checklist, sprint planning checklist, guys, from the Scrum Master, product owner, and development team's point of view? Anyone?
Prerna, can you please explain in product owner this point again?
Product owner. Yeah, before I go to that, I'm not sure you read this, but under development team, it's mentioned plans the work to be done and determines how much it will take. That means they decide on how much work will be done and how it will be done. Okay. Now, may I know who was this? Sorry, I didn't catch the name. Yeah. Aparna. Aparna, right? Which part? First point, second point. What do you need clarity on? Can you please elaborate?
Please make sure the skills
Hmm?
and capabilities of team members are known
Yes.
and are
Mm-hmm.
with needs of backlog item candidates for this sprint.
Okay. Okay. So now let us break. Whenever we don't understand any point or any aspect, we will break it down. So first of all, it's a big sentence, okay? So let us break it into two or three parts. So first part says make sure the skills and capabilities of the members are known. That means
Yeah,
as a team, we should, sorry,
I understood the first part. The second part I didn't understand.
okay, okay, and are generally aligned with the needs of the backlog item candidates for the sprint. Okay, definitely, definitely okay. I can understand it's a little, it has like jargons for you as of now, but it's very easy. So second part says that we should align the work as per the skill set of the team members. Okay. So first part you understood, and second part says and are generally aligned with the needs of backlog item. That backlog item means requirement that we will be working on, which is candidate for the sprint. Candidate for the sprint means the backlog item which we will be carrying out, or which we will be developing for the this sprint. For that, the requirements that we will be working on, for that is our team capable technically. So I'm pretty sure you got confused with the last couple of words. So let me rephrase for that. First part being the same, and our so team should be generally aligned with the needs of the requirements to be worked upon in the current sprint. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we say backlog item, that means the pending item. Candidate for the sprint means that should be taken up in the in this sprint. Is it okay? Yes. Everybody fine? Okay. Can we go to the next slide? Yes.
Yes.
Sure. Now again, some of my favorites in the presentation, the images, and it is so good. Now see here. On the input side, we have two gentlemen. Now there's a little gender bias. We don't have any female in this input section. So here there are two people. One is with the specs and kind of looks little older and maybe more experienced. So we will call him as as a product owner. Oh, 1 second. As a product owner, and second person with a briefcase, right? With a briefcase and mostly planning to have hands-on work like the checklist and other things that can be yeah. Give me a second, guys. Yes. So, these are the people who will be giving inputs in this meeting, like, that we just mentioned. What will product owner do? What will Scrum Master do? Then next is capacity and velocity. So on this capacity and velocity topic, Gaurav has created a very good video that we will request him to share. Sorry, that we will request him to share. That simply means, is our team physically and skill wise available to complete the work, and if they are able to complete the work, in how much time, what should be the duration, and what is their overall availability from that point of view. So we will share this video as itself. It's a very in detail topic. So that means we consider that as an input. The next point is current product status. That means what is the before this Scrum planning, what is the current situation of the application or of the product that we are working on. And the last point here is constraints. Can you see a lock mentioned here? So that means, are there any problem? Are there any issues? Are any known I will say constraints? Any technical issues? Whatever is there, if that is there, let us table that. Let us discuss on that. So these are the inputs of the Scrum planning process. That means we should all be taking inputs from this, understanding from this. Okay. Next point is sprint planning. As we can see, there are everyone is available in this. So all the team members, see, all the people are with different color of hair color, different clothing. That simply tries to show diversity. Okay. That means all the members who are gonna provide input in this meeting, that is sprint planning, and how That means, that we just learned that everybody will come in and share like what are their responsibilities. The Scrum Master is the facilitator. Product owner will share about his priorities, and sh- development team will share about their readiness. This is how we do it. And the output of this sprint planning process should be, first is sprint goal. Now, sprint goal simply means what should be achieved in this particular sprint. Okay. It can be a set of functionality. It can be any understanding that we want to give to customer. What kind of functionality we should be, completing by this sprint, by this particular sprint. What kind of other work that we should be finishing, right? So what are the requirements we will be completing? That is the sprint goal of particular sprint. And then the sprint backlog. That means whatever work we have taken from product backlog, that much amount of work we should be completing. As we all know, product backlog is like the repository of all the requirements. That means all the requirements which the customer is asking for are, for their product, for their application. All that is mentioned in product backlog. So it's like, I would say, a mother repository. So it's like the requirement list, or it is the ultimate all-in-one requirements, storage, if I have to call it that way, or list. It is prioritized, it is ordered. So all the important requirements are at the top. And from that, we take out some points or some workable, doable requirements for this particular sprint. Yes. So this is one of the easiest way to understand the entire process, right? We see people involved, we see the activities, we see the action points. Okay, what is the product? What is the current state? By the way, the current product status is the in at input level. That means in this particular sprint, where do we stand? Like, have we completed all the requirements or all the sprint backlog from earlier sprint? Are we comfortable to take on the additional work? Is the team available? So guys, think about this from any important meeting, any important planning that you do. As simple as if you plan for a holiday, the first question we ask is like, is everyone available? Like, your parents or your siblings or your kids, are they having holidays? The school holidays, office leaves can be managed or not. If then the next checklist can be, okay, then which location to go? How we are planning to go? By air, by road, by, boat, or anywhere. So it's as simple as any other checklist, any other planning that we do. Same way Scrum planning is done. It is very practical. It is very realistic, because unless we study or we understand the real scenario, we will not be able to complete it. Yes. Any doubt in this entire process, guys? We have gone in much detail. I've tried to simplify it for your understanding, but in case if you have any doubts, please raise. Yes? No doubts, anyone? Mm-hmm. Aparna, Zubran,
No.
Geeta, Kajal, Swarupa, everyone good?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So if you have this, so if you have these images, then will you be able to explain if you have this image? And by the way, please take a picture of this image, okay? It's always good to have this image. So please take a picture of this image. Yeah, and if we have no doubts, now let me check with Gaurav. If we is available, he can, take this forward. Gaurav, are you there?
Yes, Prerna, I'm there. So tell me which exactly at what point we are pausing now. You are pausing.
We are done with this slide. You can start from here.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Yes, let me share my screen, please.
Sure. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So fine. So far, what you have understood is the checklist. Okay, sprint planning checklist. We are looking at sprint planning. So before we begin, and you got to know that about velocity and capacity. Do you have any idea what exactly we mean by when it comes to velocity and capacity? Any random guess? What do exactly we mean by velocity and capacity? Okay, tell me, what does it sound when it comes to capacity? What you can guess about? You see here, these are the few input, right? In Scrum planning process, we define that. Okay, so if this slide is complete, let me ask you in this way. So what is your understanding? What happens in sprint planning meeting? Who can give me a quick input on this? Aparna, Jubran, Swarupa, Kajal, Geeta, anyone?
We discuss about the stories in sprint planning.
Mm-hmm. And what do we discuss about it?
Goal.
How to do
A
it?
goal. Come again? Yeah.
How to do it?
How to do it. Okay. Means you are saying that we take a user story and we discuss how to do it. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Okay. So this user story, okay, let me quickly tell you. When we define a user story, there are few things that few practices we need to follow. Okay. So first of all, after looking at wait a second. Looking at sprint backlog, okay, uh, uh, even not on sprint backlog, I would say on product backlog. Tell me what is there inside product backlog. Who can tell me? Product backlog is the first input. So what is there in the product backlog? What is there? Who can tell me quickly? What is product backlog as per you? You have came down to the user story.
Yes, technical
Yeah,
tasks,
Swarupa.
improvement. Technical tasks, improvements like research items like this.
Yeah,
That
technical task improvement. Okay.
user stories.
Okay, so you mean to say that user stories are there listed in the product backlog?
Yes, user stories described by the point of view, like the user who is it.
Okay, so now I think that some concept I need to clear with you all. So pay very close attention. First, we understand the requirement. Requirement is always a big. Yes or no? Do you all agree? Everyone?
Yes,
Yep.
yes,
Customer comes up with a very huge requirement, big requirement, cannot be completed within a day or two.
Mhm.
Right? Do you all agree with me so far? Yes?
Yes.
He has a bigger vision. Customer has a bigger vision. And that bigger vision gets broken into surface level of the requirement. Okay. And this requirement will have the module names. And that module names are listed here in a product backlog and called as epic. What they are called as?
Okay.
Epic. Epic is a one-liner statement for a high level of requirement. Okay. With me so far?
Yes.
So in product backlog, definitely you will have some technical task, some epic, okay, and some non-functional requirement. With me so far?
Yes.
Yes, non-functional requirement.
So what do we mean by non-functional requirement? Non-functional requirement means how does your software is going to respond, how your software is going to appear on the screen, how much load your software can manage. Okay, so these all stuff. Okay, so these are the technical requirement which will come under the non-functional requirement. Of course, some technical task will be there, and everything else will be called as epic or feature in product backlog item. With me so far? Are you getting this point? Epic and features? Everyone? Say yes if you understood what is product backlog item consist of. So should I take the silence as a no and repeat it again? Okay. So I believe that everyone is clear. What is product backlog? What is product backlog? Who can tell me quickly?
Technical task, story, some epic, and some non-functional requirement.
Yeah. So can we also tell this that product backlog items are high level requirement broken down from the large requirement from the client, and generally it consists of epic technical requirement and technical task and non-functional requirement, right? This is quite important for you to tell these are the high level requirement. Do you register it, everyone? You need to answer yes, then only I'll move.
Yes,
And
sir.
you all have to answer yes, then only I move. Okay? Aparna, Swarupa,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Kajal, Shubran, Geeta. Yeah, please interact with me, guys. Then only I can continue to move. Okay. So it is very much clear. Now, what happens exactly here when we understand the product backlog? It means customer also tell generally to product owner that exactly what they want on the urgent basis, on the higher priority, where priority is defined. Okay. So when priority is defined, that will take an entry into the sprint planning meeting, and to which we call them as a sprint backlog. What do we call them as?
Sprint backlog.
Sprint backlog. But before we finalize the sprint backlog as a sprint goal, we confirm what exactly we are going to do. And to discuss that, every sprint backlog or epic has to be simplified in user stories. They will be broken down into user stories, and these user stories will follow invest criteria. What they will follow?
Criteria.
Invest criteria. INVEST. What is the full form of invest? Anyone knows? So user story has to be I as in independable, N as in negotiable, V as in valuable, E as in estimatable, S as in small, and T as in testable. Got it? Everyone? Guys, do you want low energy? No energy?
No.
So if you want me to continue to move, you will have to show up energy that pumps me energy, and then I can speak up further. Okay, with low energy, I really can't speak up further. Okay, so I would appreciate your interaction and your responses when I'm asking something. Thank you for your response, whoever responded just now. So, are you clear with the invest criteria? Your user story has to be independable. Your user story has to be negotiable. It has some value in it. It should be estimatable. It should be small, and it should be testable. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
How
Yes.
user story has to be written? Brilliant. Now, what exactly happens is that we discuss on what and how you are going to do. So it means that user story will have certain tasks. Yes or no? Yeah, someone will develop it, someone will code it, someone will test it. So all those tasks will start getting created. So let me quickly give you a good example. Okay, and for that I believe that I'll have to reshare my screen. Yes, so that you will understand it easily. Okay, just give me a second. Say, and these product backlog and all, these are generally created where? In project management tools. Yes, yes, no. Yeah. So now what I'm going to, one project management tool is Jira. Okay. Once I think we had given you task when we started this track. Okay. So what exactly I'm going to do is that I'm going to get in a project, say for example. Okay. And in that project, generally what we have the backlog items. Okay. And these backlog items looks like this, something like this. Can you all see that? There are list of all the user stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Herein you will also find epics. Let me quickly check. Okay. If any external criteria, any external filter is there. All right. So These are the backlog list. And in case I need to start sprint planning, see, sprint has not started. Okay. So first I need to have the things with me, what all I can choose to take inside. I will pull the items inside it. Say, for example, these many items I have taken into the sprint. Okay. And before I start the sprint, I will also make sure that every sprint will have their subtask ready. Say, for example, this has certain subtask ready. These are subtasks. Can you see that? Development, testing, task and all. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So this is incorrect. So this item is in done status and the sprint is not yet started. It cannot ever happen. Okay. So if sprint is not started, nothing can go on done. All right. With me so far?
Yes.
Yes, no?
Yes.
Yeah. So see, when things are there in the backlog, it means that they are just prioritized. And when you decide what to move, generally these are highest or high priority items, and it will become the part of the sprint. Okay. And now you can go ahead and start the sprint. Okay. But before you start the sprint, you need to identify the people who are going to work on this. Say, for example, these are a few people who are going to work on these items. Okay. But before I talk about who all can work on this, then we need to know that who is available to work on them. Okay. And how do we do that? How do we understand who is available to work for them? So for that, we need to identify velocity and capacity. Okay. And when we say velocity and capacity, then you need to understand what is velocity and capacity. When we say capacity, what comes in your mind?
Size.
Come again, please.
Size.
Maximum amount.
Size
Yeah,
or volume.
size, maximum amount. Okay. What else?
Volume.
Volume. Yes, you are right. Size, maximum amount, volume. And when we say velocity, what comes in your mind?
Speed.
Speed. Brilliant. Thank you so much for your answer. Now, because you know that velocity means speed and capacity means size, amount, and all these items. Okay. So let me define for you what is capacity and velocity. So capacity and velocity both are the metrics. Both are what? Metrics. Both are what?
Metric.
Scrum
Metrics.
metrics. Metrics for what? Metrics for defining. Okay, matrix to define. So let me quickly tell you. First, velocity. What is velocity? Velocity is a Scrum matrix that define the rate of the speed, using that how much work can be delivered. How much what can be delivered?
Work.
Work can be delivered. So how will you identify how much work can be delivered? So for velocity, there are some units. Okay. So generally what we are going to deliver at the end? What we are going to deliver at the end, guys? What we are going to deliver at the end? Just now we spoke. What we are going to deliver at the end? Who can tell me? What we are... Yeah, we are going to project at the end, but we are not delivering the entire project together. So what we are delivering initially?
Part of working software.
And part of working software, what it will be called as? What exactly? Part of working software means what those part would be called?
Story point.
User stories. What they will be called as?
User stories.
User story. And those user story will have the unit to define them. Okay. So there is a unit for user stories. And what are those user stories? What are those unit called as? What is the unit for user stories? Any idea? Okay. The unit of the user story is always measured in story points. Okay. Say, for example, for liquid measurement, there is a unit is liter. For distance, there is kilometer or miles. For weight, there is a gram, kilogram, or pound. Likewise, for measuring user story, we have story points. With me so far? Yeah.
Yes.
So again, when I reiterate about velocity, velocity is the rate of velocity is the Scrum matrix that defines the rate of the speed of the amount of the work in terms of story point delivered. Okay. So when you define how much story point you are delivering, that is defining the velocity. However, whenever we define a velocity, you have to consider two items. One, when your sprint is starting, say for example, this is sprint 1. Okay. In sprint 1, say for example, you are defining that you will be delivering 40 user story, 40 users, 40 story point. But in reality, you delivered 39. Okay. How much you have delivered in reality?
49.
39.
So how much you committed? You committed 40, but you delivered how much?
39.
39. So committed versus deliver. In sprint number 2, what exactly happened is that you committed 39, okay, and you ended up delivering 42. How much you delivered?
42.
42. Okay. Again, in sprint 3, you delivered, you committed 42, but you ended up delivering how much? 40. How much you delivered? How much you delivered?
40.
40. In sprint 4, again, you committed for 40 and you delivered 38. Okay. So what happens is that in the sprint 1, you cannot define the velocity in story point, how much story point you are going to deliver. For that, you need to continue to practice until 4-5 user story, and towards the sprint number 6, you can have average velocity identified. Yes or no? In the sprint 5 or 6, you can have the sprint velocity, is average velocity identified. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. And how much this is going to be generally? How much you can commit and deliver? Around 40. Yes. When you see this is 39, this is 42, this is 40, this is 38 and 39, again 40, then you will identify the average velocity is going to be 40. With me so far?
Yes.
So whenever you hear the velocity, you always think of average velocity, number 1. Number 2 is that capacity. The capacity is the, again, Scrum matrix that um, defines the amount of work can be delivered in how many hours, or how many man hours or person hours. Okay. So what will be the unit of the capacity for velocity? If it is story point, what will be the unit for the capacity then?
Time.
And how it will be measured? Time?
Hours, 60 seconds.
Hours. Okay. Got it? How we are defining capacity and velocity, what exactly it is, how it is important. Yeah, and then only you can define who can work, how much they have capacity, how much time they can contribute, and you reach on to the sprint goal and sprint backlog. Got it, guys? Any questions so far? Say no if you don't have. Okay. I'll take this silence as a no itself. Now let's move further. So how sprint planning is structured on two parts. First one will scope and second one will be the plan. Okay. So let's focus on the scope first. Okay. So in the scope, the team selects which items for a prioritized list of product backlog items they forecast they will be able to complete during the sprint. Here is a sample agenda of the first part of the sprint planning. So what they will define the goal of the sprint. What is the goal? Use this as a decision filter to determine which product backlog items to include in the sprint. Of course, who can tell about it? What to include first in the sprint backlog? Logically speaking, who can give you the idea what to include into the sprint backlog?
Product owner.
Definitely, you are right. Yes, it is going to be product owner. Okay. Everyone with me so far? Yes, no?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So product owner is going to give you the idea exactly who is going to, what item we are going to take into the sprint planning. Second, what product backlog items are ready and contributed toward the sprint goal and can contribute toward the sprint goal. Now here, very important thing. When we say product, how many product backlog items are ready? Now, if product backlog items are not ready, you end up making them ready in the sprint backlog itself. And that's when I come and say that never ever have the sprint backlog, sprint planning meeting done at the first place. However, your Scrum guide says that your your Scrum event should start with the sprint planning meeting. That's what says this, that your Scrum event should start with sprint planning. Where it is mentioned? It is mentioned in the Scrum guide. Okay, where it is mentioned? Scrum guide. Okay, you can go to scrum.org or scrumguide.org. You can read there. Okay, so latest change was there in 2020. Okay, but that Scrum guide does not talk about one more event which takes place, and generally it should take place, which is called as this. I don't know whether last time I talked about it or not.
Reformation meeting. Grooming
Which
meeting.
grooming meeting. Yes, you're right. Backlog grooming meeting or backlog refinement meeting. Okay. So in backlog refinement meeting, what you will do, you will make it ready. How you will make it ready? You will understand, okay, what exactly you are going to deliver. Any question, you will go back to business analyst, because business analysts are generally the SMEs who understand requirement more in detail and is in touch with customer deeply to clarify the requirement and understand the requirement and translate it to the other staff members. With me so far, everyone? Geeta, Aparna, Kajal, and Jibran?
Yes,
Yeah?
sir.
Thanks. Superb. So what will happen in sprint planning meeting? If you are going to do it, will you have the time before the execution when you start coding and start working on that? Do you think you will have the time to get more clarity onto that? No. And that's the reason it is always important to run the backlog grooming call before even the sprint planning meeting starts. How it is going to benefit you that when it is going to be ready, any questions, if it is going to occur, it is already well answered before the sprint planning meeting. With me so far? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yeah. So always as a future Scrum Master or business analyst, keep these things in your mind. Now let's move further and understand what else can be done. Okay. So who is available for this sprint? Identify any vacation, holidays, other activities that will impact everyone's availability during the sprint. So as a Scrum Master, before you schedule the sprint planning meeting, you have to align the time, the availability of this meeting along with other staff members' availability, their planned vacation, and if any at all vacation, holidays, and or any other activities are aligned. So why we need to do that? Why you need to align accordingly? So that everyone involved in the project will become the part of sprint planning meeting. Got it? The reason behind it? Yeah, super. Now, what is the team's capacity based on everyone's availability? So based on everyone's availability, how will you define that? What is team's capacity? Say, for example, you have some team members. Okay. So say, for example, you have team members. One is Jubran. Okay. You have another team member, Kajal. You have another team member, Aparna. Okay. You have another team member, Geeta. Okay. Say, for example, you have few more team members, 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3, when we say they are Scrum Master, okay, they are business analyst and product owner. Okay. However, Jubran, Kajal, Aparna, and Geeta are actual coders. Okay. Jubran is dev lead, Kajal is developer or coder, Aparna is test lead, and Geeta is tester, say for example. So actual executors are these 4 people, right? With me so far?
Yes.
Yes, no? And everyone is going to work daily, okay, for the project, right? And when they are going to work daily means how many hours they are going to ideally work? Tell me.
8 hours.
8 hours. Say for example, the available capacity is 9 hours. Okay. Available capacity is 9 hours for each. 9, 9, 9. Okay. So 9 hours is not going to be their productive hours. Is it going to be? No. 9 minus 1 hours is, say for 1 hour is break, means 8 working hours. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Say for example, in 8 hours, consider some meetings, unplanned meetings, or some events or ceremonies coming up. It means that 2 hours gone for those meetings. 8 minus 2 becomes 6, right? And events minus from 6, you see that they you go ahead, you take a bio break or something like that, or you help some other people, means actually how many hours you are going to work? You are going to work 5 hours. Okay. So when you will identify the productive hours, you will reach daily everyone is going to work for 5 hours. Okay, this is your ideal workout. It means that it is when you are 100% assigned to a project. You are not a shared resource. With me so far, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
So if you consider only these much of break and you are not shared resource, if you are in 100% utilization, and any sprint works for how long? What is the sprint duration, everyone?
2 hours.
What is the sprint duration?
4 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
1 week to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 week to 4 week. Who defines how long the sprint is going to be? What is the length of your sprint? Who is going to define?
Must.
Who?
Scrum Master.
No, Scrum Master is not going to decide. So so before I tell this, tell me when the sprint length of the sprint is defined. In between of the sprint, or towards the late of the sprint, or before the project begins?
Planning meeting.
No, not even in the planning meeting. So there are multiple factors on which the sprint duration is defined. Okay. And this is defined by the customer along with product owner. Who defines it?
Customer.
Customer, product owner.
Customer along with product owner. And it depends upon multiple factor like uncertainty of the project. Requirement is still unclear. Okay. If your team is immature, means team is quite new, you have the freshers into the team, and whether it is matured or not. So if there are the experienced one. So more, and how frequent the customer want the feedback on the project which is being developed. Okay. So feedback loop also define that. Okay. So if customer says that they want immediate feedback, fast feedback on ongoing activity, ongoing work, because the team is new, then the minimum duration of the sprint will be how much? 1 week. Because customer wants it early, plus your team is quite new, and requirement is still unclear. If these three factors come, then it will go towards the 1 week. If requirement is clear, team is matured, and customer wants the feedback uh, with some delay, that can go maximum up to 4 weeks. How much?
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Oh.
But if you have the mixed team, and mixed feeling, and the requirement is little bit of in between, a little bit clear, little bit unclear, it is still evolving, it is always okay to accommodate or adapt midway. That goes towards the 2 weeks. Okay. So when we say 2 weeks, it means how many working days?
10 days.
10 days. If we'll say 10 days means how many hours per person?
5 hours per person.
Okay. If you'll calculate with the 5 working hours, 5 productive hours, it means 50 hours in a sprint.
50.
Okay. 50 hours in a sprint per person. How many person are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. how much total capacity will be of that sprint? For
250.
yeah, the
250.
total capacity will become 250 hours. Yeah. Now I have not identified if anyone has a planned meeting or a planned PTO or not, planned vacation or not, any holidays or not. But generally, you define the capacity. You define the capacity well before the sprint begins. Okay. You take everyone's holiday well in advance, understand everyone's calendar well in advance, so that you continue to plan the capacity, and accordingly you assign the work with the people, considering them that how one person can contribute it for one user story. With me so far? Yes.
Yes.
Understand how we calculate the capacity, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, super. Now, let's go ahead. What items will the team include on the sprint backlog based on the sprint goal and team's capacity? I quickly told you that how to define the capacity and who all will be there. I took everyone's example. How confident does the team feel that they will be able to meet the sprint goal? Now, after sprint planning is done, everyone's work is assigned to them. And now, as a Scrum Master, um, this is your moral responsibility to check with your team that how confident they feel when it comes to completing the work. With me so far, everyone? Always,
Yes.
always, always
Yes.
ensure that you are asking this thing to your team member. Okay. Now let's move further. Part 2, plan. The team discusses in more detail how they will deliver the selected product backlog items. Okay. When we say how they are going to deliver, it means will it have task, subtask, or user story as is, or feature they are going to create, how they are going to define. They will define that every user story will be broken down into multiple subtasks. Every subtask will have either the user story paralleled task, or inside that some task will be there. What all tasks can be broken down and who will be working on that, everything will be been defined. It will be discussed at this first bullet point when it comes to product backlog. This may but does not have to include identifying the task for the product backlog items, whether where there are any dependencies between the items, and signing up for the initial product backlog items that each item members work on. It means that when you are taking things into the sprint planning, you are working on that, you also need to identify, is there anything which will block the delivery of this undertaking items of user story? Does it also dependent of anything else? Say for example, you are developing fund transfer for a banking project. So before fund transfer, what you should be developing? Tell me, logically speaking, before banking fund transfer, what should happen? Guys, think logically and give me the answer. If you're doing online banking fund transfer from one party to another party, what should be their minimum dependency? For fund transfer to be the successful, what is the dependency over here?
Account number.
Account number, and account number will be associated with some person, right?
Yeah.
It means that person is the dependency, right? So
Yes.
existence of person should be there. Otherwise, who will transfer to whom, right? So it means that before fund transfer come into the picture, then client registration is required. Client account is required, right? Then only the things can be the operable, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so these are the basic dependency. So the moment you will identify, client will say, hey, I want this month fund transfer to be activated, forget everything else. So then you as a business analyst, you will tell that I totally understand you, but fund transfer has the dependency on the beneficiary adding, number one. And for beneficiary adding, you must have the existing client acquisition done, or customer has to be added into the system. Why don't we go ahead with the balance inquiry first and the adding customer and account opening first? Three modules. then only we can do this what you call fund transfer activity. Then only, so client will have the wow understanding. He say, yes, I did not think in that way. And that's when it is quite mandatory to go ahead with these modules. Are you getting my point, everyone? Jubran, Aparna, Geeta, and Kajal?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that you need to identify by your own self. Having said so, if I'll go ahead again and try to look at it, you need to understand as a product owner what all the high level product backlog you have already written. You have spoken with customer how frequent they are seeking for the release. Then you, in the sprint planning meeting, you will define sprint backlog. Scrum Master will chair or facilitate this meeting. Okay. And when it will be facilitated, everyone agrees, everyone will start working on them, and daily everyone will be meeting to have the daily stand-up meeting. Okay. And one fine day, you will call the client for the sprint review. And when client says, okay, it looks good, please deliver this. The moment you deliver it, after or immediate after that, you are supposed to do the sprint retrospective meeting. Which meeting, everyone?
Sprint
Retrospection meeting.
retrospective.
Retrospective meeting. Okay. So if it is your 4 weeks of or 4 weeks of a sprint, the retrospective meeting has to go from up to 3 hours. If it is 4 weeks of meeting, your review meeting will be up to 4 hours. And if it is 4 weeks of meeting, your sprint planning meeting will be up to 8 hours. That is one working day. With me so far, everyone? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, if I'll look at it, it means that project vision customer gives you, and accordingly he wants and he shares with you that how frequent he wants the release to happen. Accordingly, you define the sprint backlog, and you take few items for the sprint planning meeting. You start implementing, meet everyone regularly in the daily stand-up meeting or scrum meeting. And then one fine day you realize the work is done, you invite customer for taking their review. And if customer gives the go, you deploy it or you deliver it, and you will convert them into retrospective, right? Convert them retrospective means that after it is delivered, you invite everyone to discuss the learning that can be converted into the action item. Are you getting my point, everyone? Geeta, Kajal, Jubran,
Yes, sir.
Aparna. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you understand. It means that if input is defined, that is sprint backlog or from product backlog, output is defined as the sprint goal. Then in the sprint planning, you will only discuss what to be delivered, when to be delivered, how to be delivered, and who is going to deliver, who is the sign. So if in the initial week, if you have learned about the Kanban board, everyone, have you learned the Kanban board? Yes or no? Tell
Yes, sir.
yes if you are aware of the Kanban board. How many
Yes.
columns are generally there in that Kanban
Three,
board?
three
Three.
columns.
What are
Column.
those three columns?
To do, in progress, done.
To do, WIP,
In progress.
and
Oh,
done. When I say WIP, it means that work in progress and then done. Okay.
Yeah.
So in to do, all the backlogs will be there, right?
yes.
And in progress, what you will be doing, how things will move into in progress. So every team member who will be working on this, and they are asked what you are going to deliver. So your team member has to voluntarily choose one item, pull it in their bucket, assign it to themselves. Okay. And then move it to done. Okay. So because this is the self-managed team, everyone is responsible to pull their task. That's the reason we call them as a pull-based mechanism. What we call them as?
Pull-based mechanism.
Pull-based mechanism. That happens and more and are encouraged into the Kanban board. With me so far, everyone?
Yes.
Everyone with me so far? Everyone?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your responses. This is, and thereby you achieve the sprint goal. Now, what exactly happened when it comes to plan? Okay. the how part. Okay, the how part we have to know. So the development team plans the work necessary to deliver the sprint goal. Ultimately, the resulting sprint plan is a negotiation between the development team and product owner based on the value and effort. It may happen that when you are giving the estimation, you may say higher what a product owner is expecting than that, and there will be the negotiation why you are taking so much time. So it may happen, there could be the multiple reason that you might be taking the more time, or others are taking lesser time. You are the fresher, you might be taking more time. The experienced person may take lesser time. That is one factor. Second factor is that because everyone is taking major time, because this user story is not sliced well enough, it is not into the investment criteria, it is not the small enough. Considering these all factor, you will go ahead and you will slice them further and make it more smaller to achieve it in the less time. Okay, so the whole idea is that to understand whether it is here, small, it is small or not. With me so far, everyone? And if you identify any user story is not the small enough, what you should be doing? Ideally, what you should be doing, Jubran, Kajal, Aparna, Geeta, if your user story is not small enough and it is time consuming, what you can do in that case?
Experienced person can be
Okay, simple logically speaking, if you have to consume an item which is long enough, which is the big enough, what you will do, which you cannot consume, what you will do? Break.
Break it
So
down.
if your user story is not small enough, what you will do? Make it small.
Make it
How will you make them small? You will break
Break it
down.
down.
Yeah, you will split it into 2 or 3. How much possible that can be sliced enough. Okay, it has to be thin, it has to be sleekiest, it has to
Tight,
be
tight
sliced,
also.
and it has to be small enough. Got it, everyone?
yes.
Yeah. And the who part says that you cannot do sprint planning without the product owner or the development team. Yeah, these people has to be the part of the sprint planning meeting. The product owner defines the goal based on the value that they seek. The development team needs to understand how they can or cannot deliver the goal. That has to be very much clear, that is there any dependency, uncertainty, or any uh, risk is there that requires to be highlighted, so that everyone will be on the single page. And if either is missing from this event, it makes planning the sprint almost impossible. So everyone, product owner, development team, and the goal, and understanding, everything has to be clear and should be available then and there. With me so far, everyone? Any questions so far?
No.
Okay.
So,
if no question if no question, I would highly appreciate you all record one small video explaining or summarizing or briefing what you have understood so far in the sprint planning meeting, so that we will gain confidence about you. Your confidence is later byproduct. And when you can have the confidence in yourself, when you do this activity regularly as a part of unsaid assignment, whatever you are learning, you are submitting it back as a part of summary in a way that 5 years old can understand. With me so far, Aparna, Jubran, Kajal, and Geeta. Yeah. So
sure,
this
sir.
is what I am expecting from all of you, to submit it into the WhatsApp group itself, summarizing whatever you have learned.
Uh,
And we are going to talk again tomorrow at the same
so,
time.
sorry,
Till
sir. I have one question. I joined half of
yes,
the meeting. So can I do it from there, or you'll be posting the video, sir?
yeah, you can do half of whatever you have understood. You can do that, and of course, recording will be shared later.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, welcome. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. If no question, we are just dropping off now. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night. We'll talk to you again soon.